I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
I'm Francis. This is Giulio. We're back with Oops, the podcast.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I ran into Giulio
Oh, that was fun.
on the street in New York City.
Well, but no, not quite. This was like a, what's the word? It's an amphibious run-in almost. Francis was in a car and I was walking. I know that comparison doesn't quite work, but you know
No,
what
but I
mean.
don't hate it.
Yeah, it somehow works.
I don't hate it. Somehow land and sea equates
Right.
in New York City to car and walking. Very, very good. I was driving home from a comedy show and Giulio was crossing 3rd Avenue.
I was walking up 3rd Avenue, right?
No, you had just crossed in front of me.
Oh, interesting. Really?
That's why I saw you.
That's hilarious.
You had crossed in front of my car, which was stopped at the light.
I
And I
must not have
thought,
heard you at that point.
man, that kid looks a lot like Giulio. Because you were wearing your hat and your traditional sort of, baggy kind of puffy attire.
So, dude, I was wearing my cold weather coat,
Mm.
which is like not that like nice to look at. And it's hard to wear without putting the hood up too. And like once the hood is up, I sort of look like a 5-year-old whose mom got him ready for sledding. I can't even put my arms at my sides. I'm just kind of like walking like, so I probably just looked like I was fucking.
You looked like a young kid, a young
Yeah.
man, that, but not in a shitty way. I didn't have the impression that, oh, this kid looks like a shitty kid. I thought, oh, there's just a kid, and then I thought, wait a second, that's very similar to the type of stuff Giulio wears. And then it was your traditional sort of brown hat,
Okay.
your Travis Scott lid that you like to wear.
That I'll be wearing on the next episode.
Sure.
Literally.
Yeah, your Travis Scott lid. So you crossed in front of me, and then I thought, okay, I'm not certain if that's Giulio, so I'm gonna roll down the window and just give one of these, Giulio. And therefore, if it's not, the person that I'm yelling to won't think that I think they are Giulio.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
You're kind of
it's
just throwing it out into the ether.
hedging your bets a little
You're
bit.
casting a line into the ocean with no idea if the fish are even biting. You're just there on the pier thinking, we may not strike gold here, but
And keep casting.
we could. And then I still wasn't even sure that it was you, but I thought, I have to know. So I started yelling louder,
Yeah.
and I yelled it about 4 or 5 times.
I was wondering how many times you had yelled.
a lot of times,
Yeah.
more times than was comfortable.
Because I only heard it on the last 2.
Yeah,
And
you had headphones in.
So the guy who walked by me though, and also this hood is very sort of like noise canceling as well.
It's like that device that Professor Charles Xavier used to locate mutants.
Exactly.
Cerebro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this guy walked by me. This guy walked by me who did not look like the way that Giulio sounded. And I was like, is it possible that was that guy? So I turned around and looked at him.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I guess not. I must be hearing things. I continued walking, heard it again, and then I looked to the right, and there you were.
Then you took your earbud out, because then you went, what's going on?
I know.
What's going on here? And I was in the car, but then the light had changed. So I had this panic moment of, am I just going to confuse Giulio and then drive off
Oh, yeah.
without him ever realizing who it was that was yelling, that was hailing him?
There you were, my knight in shining armor.
Yeah, and I pulled over, and you said hello, and then I said, "What are you up to?" Blah blah blah, and I said, "Can I give you a ride home?"
Yeah.
And you turned me down
I know.
because you like to walk.
No, dude, I hadn't done anything that day, and I had walked to Soho for a show, and then I was walking back from Soho.
Wow.
So I had it in my brain, like, I'm going to walk because I haven't done anything today. Like, I've been sitting in my house. So like, it wasn't a snub, but like I truly was walking.
It's amazing. I was talking to Mark Normand who has a good body. I don't know if you know that.
He's gotten like very sneakily ripped
He's
over
got a
the
good
years.
body, Mark
Yeah.
Normand. A lot of people don't know that. And I said, "What do you do for fitness?" Mark Normand's a comedian, if you don't know. And he sort of said, I wake up and I do 70 push-ups, and then I do 50 squats, and then I do 20 pull-ups on scaffolding every day, and I walk everywhere. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it makes you realize, if you live in New York City, you commit to walking everywhere, you can be in pretty good shape.
So I don't believe him. I'm calling Mark Normand out on this because I've asked him this question too, and he gave me some like equally whimsical answer. He was like, just a lot of crunches. And I was like, okay, dude. Like, I think I bet he has a personal trainer.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
calling bullshit.
You're calling fish on Mark Normand.
Dude, P.S., Mark Normand did the Lil Young Big podcast.
That's funny.
And I believe that, which, don't go looking for it. I took it down. I didn't think it was very good. Anyway, but I think we talked about that on Lil Young Big as well, and he dodged the question as well. So I've heard multiple answers from him on this topic.
Well, it is possible that his workout regimen has changed.
Yeah, no, for sure. 100%.
If you asked me 7 years ago, what do you do for a workout? My answer would be very different than today.
So what you just said, though, sounds fairly comprehensive. Like, I believe that if you're actually doing all that.
It's a very specific lie.
Yeah, no, I know.
If that's what he's going for.
Totally. It sounds like maybe you got the goods and I got the reach around.
Yeah. Or, again, just to play devil's advocate, his workout has changed.
I know, but dude, he was already in very good shape. There's no shot all he was doing is crunches. You can't just do crunches and be like ripped like that.
Yeah, that sounds like his answer early on was a gloss over. But now I do think that if you ate right and you did just that every day and walked all over the place, you could be in very good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. So anyway, Giulio turned me down. He didn't want the ride, and I went. Someone started honking, so he gave me the classic Giulio sign off. He said, "You got to go. Do your thing. Do your thing."
I say that?
Yeah, you say that. That's how you. Whenever we're on a phone call, if I say, "Oh shoot, I got to run" or something, you go. Do your thing. Do your thing.
I don't want to but I just felt bad because I know it's stressful to be honked at, so I didn't want to allow us to sit there and have you be honked at.
Yeah, I was blocking the turn onto, I don't know, 12th Street, 10th Street, something like that.
I was like, dude, I know for sure we will catch up. But we'll see.
But this is a good segue into this next point that I wanted to bring up, which is that I was on a phone call with my mom. Mm-hmm. And I called my mom to just say hi and catch up. And she was in the car driving with my dad, and they had me on speakerphone. And we were having a conversation. And, wasn't really going anywhere. It was pretty listless. There was no point. Mm-hmm. And after a certain amount of time, I overheard my dad say to my mom, and I don't know why he thought I wouldn't hear this because they're on speakerphone. He goes, "You got to let him go." As if he had sensed they were now holding me back. And I said, "No, what? I want to talk to you guys." And they said, oh, well, we know it's a bit middle of a work day and you got a lot going on. And I had this deep feeling of sort of shame and sadness that my parents felt like I couldn't afford them 5-10 minutes of my day to talk on the phone, even if we weren't talking about anything. Mm-hmm. And that's something that you just did as well.
I do that. It's funny you say that because I thought of what my parents do to me when you described what I do to you.
There you go.
Do your thing.
Aziz has a new special out.
I know.
I really liked it.
Really?
I really liked it. On Netflix, 29 minutes. First of all, the length is ideal. I hope that becomes the new paradigm because that is so much more achievable for me as a comedian than an hour. Mm-hmm. There was a moment in it, though, and he had this in his previous special as well, where he sort of inserted this lump of emotion about our relationship with our parents. And he said that with our phones, we become so distracted. Back when he had a smartphone, he's now switched to a flip phone.
Yeah.
To sort of clean up his
life. Which is
life.
True. He actually, yeah.
And he showed it. He proved it. But he said, my mom called me one day and we were talking. And she said, "Are you not listening to me? What are you doing right now?" And he was scrolling the internet for some meaningless bullshit article. And it's so true, man. I mean, if I can offer something, which I'm going to work on myself, I got a new New Year's resolution.
Oh, wow.
A February New Year's resolution.
Never too
which
late,
is that
baby.
when I'm on the phone with my parents, I'm not going to be doing anything else on my phone.
That's nice.
I always put them on speakerphone, and
you
then
fucking-
oftentimes I'll, do the crossword puzzle or whatever it is. No more.
That's nice.
I want to talk to my parents.
That's nice.
I want them to know how much I value them while I'm on the phone with them.
That's
and
good.
I don't want them thinking, oh, we got to let him go. Our time is up.
Mhm.
We only get 5 minutes with the king. It's bullshit.
Yeah, dude, that's very nice. That's
And
nice.
do you know why? Because they always have time for us.
That's true.
And even if they were to run out of time, they would make a point to call us back later that day.
That is true.
Anyway.
Hopefully, at least.
Yeah.
That's nice, man. I think that's a nice initiative.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
So like, yeah, when I do that to you, I don't feel like I've been wasting your time though. I'm just kind of like, I'm doing it as a courtesy. I'm like, no, dude, like,
Yeah.
don't even think twice about it. Like, go do your thing. You got stuff to do.
I appreciate
good.
it. I appreciate that. I do the same thing.
But that is funny. Dude, my parents have done that to me too, where they forget that like they think that if they whisper while I'm on speakerphone with them, they won't be able to hear. Like I'll say something that annoys my dad and I've heard him like lower his tone and then like, not tone, but his volume and say something like in Italian to my mom.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, first of all, I know what you're saying. Second of all, I can also fucking hear you. Like, are you serious?
Wow.
Like, why do you, and even if I didn't understand what you're saying, I hear the way you're saying what you're saying and I can fucking hear you. And he gets embarrassed. He's
Uh-huh.
like surprised. I'm like, dude, Jesus.
Wait, first of all, I didn't know your mom was also fluent in Italian.
My parents are both immigrants.
I guess I did know that.
No.
Yeah, what am I saying? I knew that. And your Italian is pretty damn good?
Not really, but like if they're talking, I like know what they're saying.
Could you say something that's not basic to me right now in Italian?
Yeah, but it's like embarrassing. Like I like
Embarrass yourself.
no, I don't want to.
Unburden yourself.
No,
on the
dude, I seriously,
podcast.
it's like awkward.
Giulio, I'm trying to order some spaghetti.
Dude, this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Sorry, I'm
It's
sorry.
okay.
I'll let you go. Do your thing.
My
Do your
girlfriend
thing.
does
Do your
it.
thing.
That's good. That's good. My girlfriend does this to me too. And like, she'll like get me to say phrases. I'm not acting like my Italian is good at all. It's not. But like, when people are talking to me and shit, I like can understand what they're saying,
Chris, you got some Italian for
Chris
us?
relates to this. Chris's family's
Chris,
Italian
you
too.
got some Italian?
We should brush up on our Italian and then we could talk shit about them while they're here. That would be hilarious.
Here's something. Ready? Dove va via nazionale?
Where
Wow.
is Via Nazionale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a question I learned by heart because when I was in Florence, when I was just after my senior year of high school, I went with my high school buddies on a Euro trip with a Eurail pack. We went backpacking.
Sick.
And we were in Florence and we had no idea how to get back to our youth hostel. And it was on Via Nazionale. So I committed that question to memory. 'Cause
Yeah, dude.
we would go to the bars and the clubs and then just walk home with no idea how to navigate the labyrinthine streets of Firenze.
Yeah, dude, it's a good town.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, dude, like, it's. I have like a troubled relationship with that. I mean, dude, when I fucking go over there, I get pretty solid pretty fast.
Mm.
But like, I'm just sort of like self-conscious about it. Like, I've gone too far with like being bad at it, where it's like it's gonna take me a couple steps to come on the pod and start ripping
I hear you.
firing shots at you.
I think you have to also know that people want to hear you speak Italian because everyone gets excited when they know that someone speaks a foreign language.
But I don't, dude. Like, I'm not acting like I do. But you're right. I get
It's
that.
not that they're trying to humiliate you. They just
Right.
want to hear it for themselves.
right.
'Cause
Right.
it's like hearing music if someone has a musical talent or something.
Totally. But there are times when people are annoying about it. Like, I had a friend who spoke Portuguese, and like if she got a call from somebody that she had to speak Portuguese to, like you could tell she was like It was as if the curtains had just opened and she was
Oh, really? She would.
no sky chun like all that fucking like
Whoa,
whatever
that's
Portuguese
bad
sounds
Portuguese.
like. Yeah, whatever.
She sounds like she didn't know it as well as we thought she did.
But yeah, no,
If that was her,
but my point being, like, she's just carrying on. I'm like, dude, this is so annoying.
I hear you. I would have thought that sounded more like Japanese.
What, dude?
Did you hear his impression of Portuguese?
Dude, whatever she was doing,
We finally got Giulio to speak a foreign language, and it's one that he knew less than Italian.
I wasn't saying any actual Portuguese. Dude. I was just making sounds. They just sounds. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. I can do a little Portuguese. Falo portuguesa.
Those are good.
That means, do you speak Portuguese?
That's very good. Very good.
Yeah. Parlo italiano, ma non bene. I speak Italian, but not very well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I know how to say.
That's good. It's good. Very good.
All right. Well, good stuff. That's Oops Podcast. No, I'm kidding. Plenty more to get into. Here's something, and I'm sure you have a lot for me, but I like to dump on you up front.
All good.
So I had to go pick up. Well, here's something that happened. This is in keeping with the conversation we had on the last episode about trying to reel in your spending and resist the temptation to purchase something that you see and immediately want.
Mm-hmm.
So Sierra and I, we were here last weekend, and there was nothing going on. I mean, nothing. Our days were completely empty, and so we went to our favorite. We decided to go to Restoration Hardware's outlet store,
Nice.
which is something that we have a penchant
Sunset
for
Park?
doing. Yeah. Industry City, Studio City. What's the one that's in LA and what's the one that's in Brooklyn?
Sunset Park.
Right.
Studio City's in LA.
So then it's also known as Industry City.
Okay.
That's where all those huge, massive warehouses are that they've converted into big outlet stores. It's also where the Brooklyn Nets practice.
Interesting.
There's some cool stuff down there. It's kind of weird.
I remember a fragment of this from when you went and got your couch there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You can find some gems at that Restoration Hardware outlet if you go at the right time. So we went in there and we found, we've been looking for a coffee table to replace the one that I've had for 8 or 9 years, which my parents gave to me when they got rid of their furniture so this was something that just didn't even fit in our apartment. You remember did you see the new coffee table?
I don't know if did I? But how long have you had it?
Less than a week.
So I would not have seen it last time.
Correct.
Okay, I need to check.
New one, the old one was that wooden one that was very high.
I remember that.
So it was a lot higher than the couch.
So this is a new one.
So the old one didn't fit, but it was just what we had. So we stuck with it for a full year.
Okay.
And it was the last sort of piece that we needed to replace once we moved into our new apartment. And so finally, Sierra convinced me we should really try to find a replacement for it. We went to Restoration Hardware just to browse. And of course, we walked in and found instantly the perfect coffee table. And, it was one that had a flaw because it's marble. It's a marble slate on a sort of metal frame, but the marble is glued to a big piece of wood, and the glue had not been done properly, and it had become loose. So you had to slide a little bit of almost a chip of wood in to prevent it from wobbling. Imagine you're at a table at an outdoor cafe, your table's wobbling, the waiter or the waitress comes by with a little thing to prevent it from happening. That's what we had to do.
Can you re-glue it or something? Is that an option?
I don't know if we have the wherewithal to do that, but because of this flaw, it had been marked down 60%, then 70%, and then 80%. So it was 80% off from its listed price.
That's crazy.
And we bought it.
Nice.
And this thing weighs 10,000 pounds.
Because the marble?
I don't even know. I mean, what is marble made of? Black holes? How How could something so not thick be so heavy? What is it made of?
Isn't it just made of marble?
Dude, it is
Isn't
the
marble
heaviest
marble?
bullshit on earth. Why is marble so heavy? It's arrogantly heavy.
How do they prepare it? Because it just looks like a rock normally, right? And then you have to like fucking excavate it.
Yeah, I think so.
You have to fucking
Marble is cool. I will give you that. A marble countertop in a kitchen is really nice.
Yeah. It's very Italian of you, dude.
And you can change it. You know,
you
you
get
can
a
get all,
parakeet, and you'll be fucking. Then you'll be Francesco.
so you know, this thing is super heavy. So we can't. We're there with our sedan, and which is not big enough to bring.
Was it almost big enough? Like, did you try?
I wanted to. I really wanted to. I'm a guy who wants to get everything done as quickly as possible, even if it's much harder.
Yeah, same.
Rather than go home and come back the next day with a bigger car, or some stupid, or God forbid, rent a moving company to bring it for us for an extra few $100. But we came back. Sierra finally convinced me that we couldn't fit this marble in because if the marble cracks, then you're done for.
Interesting.
It's very delicate, these slates
sense,
of
yeah.
marble, you know? And if we go over a bump, the thing doesn't fit that well in the car, there goes our investment. These are final sales.
Yeah.
So we came back. We've met some new friends in the building. I think I've told you. Very cool friends.
Yes.
Very cool friends. We like these people a lot.
Very fun.
They have a truck. I asked him if I could borrow
Wow,
his
look
truck.
at that. Community living.
Yeah, he let me borrow his truck. And I had to go the next day alone back to Restoration Hardware to fetch the marble table. Now, first of all, when was the last time you drove a big pickup truck?
Never. I don't think I ever have driven a
Dude,
truck.
it is awesome.
Really?
You think you are driving a tank. You think you're driving a full-blown tank.
That's great.
People don't mess with you. You want to merge, they're letting you in.
Right.
There's nothing they can do. Nobody's cutting you off. It's a totally different driving experience. It's like driving while you're riding on top of a pit bull.
Can I add something to this?
Yeah.
Dude, when I shot something in Pennsylvania, I briefly talked about it, a town that only had 3 people living there. And one of the places, we were going to go knock on people's doors and ask them for an interview. And the guy who was the producer, we saw one house that had a pickup truck in the driveway. And this pickup truck was like camouflage and like, it wasn't like your typical pickup truck. But he made the joke to me. He's like, dude, I'm not even joking. When we do shoots, like if there's a situation like this where we need to like see if people want to talk, if they have a pickup truck, we just don't even ask.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa. So then when I like did whatever road trip I was doing, I was like, I should fucking do this in a pickup truck to change the narrative of like pickup truck drivers. So we're approachable guys, dude. You know?
Also,
that's what I picture you driving.
And
on.
if you were in a pickup truck, the people who have pickup trucks might be more willing to speak to you.
Yeah, like you're part of the club.
Yeah, exactly. There's this guy's one of us. He gets it. Do you know that?
And you have to put your hand on it and rub it like it's a dog.
Yeah.
When you get out, you're like,
pat
yeah.
it.
Sorry, what were you saying?
It's been with me for a while. Well, no, but I mean, I was gonna say, I think this is true. And here comes another unverified Oops the Podcast fact.
A Snapple fact.
The Ford F-150 accounts for some enormous percentage of Ford's total car sales.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me.
Can you look that up, Ryan? And the new thing that they're coming out with, Ford, because they're making an electric version of their F-150. The coolest thing about it, this is what I was told by my dad, is that
who is the tech?
he is a
fucking
tech
guy?
and EV, guy. Is that the battery in the new Ford F-150 electric vehicle is so powerful that if you lose power at your house, you can use it as a generator for your
Wow.
house.
That's sick.
Which is amazing.
And even better for like people on ranches who like maybe need that.
Dude, do you know how many
The
times
generator goes
we
down?
lost power at my house growing up?
I bet.
It was
Yeah.
very common.
My house too.
And it would get so dark
Yeah.
because we were down this long driveway and then we had power lines that would come down, tree would fall on the power line. The power company would do their best, but they had so much going on. There were so many trees falling down, and we would just be without power for days. And finally we got a generator, but it was gas powered. So it could only keep, your fridge on and like 2 or 3 lights, and that was it. And so to have an F-150 would be cool. What do you got?
So there's no percentages, but
I know it's their best-selling car.
It's the best-selling pickup truck in America.
Yeah.
And the only comparison I can have is to number 2, which is the Ram pickup. Ram sold 540,000 units in 2021, and Ford sold 720,000. So
Cool.
Ford tough,
180,000
baby.
Yeah.
more.
Thank you, Daddy Fact Check.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. I mean, the F-150 is as much of a staple of America as anything, I would say.
Totally.
And
it just has so much utility. Like you see, and not to just fucking talk about driving around the country the whole episode, but like when you drive out west or when you go to these places that are more open and stuff, like you very quickly understand the utility. Even where I'm from, like it was more rural, like people have pickup trucks and like they use them,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, driving this truck, I thought this is a true piece of equipment. This is not just a.
It was a pickup?
Yeah, the
Ford F-150?
one. No, it wasn't an F-150. I think it was a. I think it was a Chevy.
Okay.
What's their
Silverado.
truck? Yeah, I think it is the Silverado. I think that's what I was in. I mean, these things are huge. You're so high off the ground.
Sick.
That it's just a completely different experience.
That's like very badass to have that car in Brooklyn. Those people must do well.
They're cool people. They're really cool. So he lent me his truck. I drove to Restoration Hardware. I got this stupid table, and one sales associate. This is how heavy this was. They had texted me. Restoration Hardware texted me and said, "Any chance you can come before 2 p.m.? We only have because after that we're only gonna have one guy who can help you."
Oh wow.
And we don't think that's enough. Now, sure enough, they put this thing on a little dolly. We rolled it down the ramp, and 2 of us did it no problem.
They were underestimating you, bro. The pipes. Speaking of which,
we're
gonna finish the story, but then we gotta measure
we
it.
should do a re-up. Should we do it every week?
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, Hillary thought we were talking about our
I'm with you.
penises, dude.
What's that?
Hillary was like, it sounded like you guys were measuring each other's penises.
Oh, heavens.
I was like, she goes, what's a python?
Yeah.
I was like, it's an arm. She
Well,
goes, No, I guess it makes sense. Serpent is definitely like a penis.
Yes. My trouser snake is the way I know.
Right.
You have to specify that it lives in the trousers rather than in the shirt. So we rolled it down, and then I decided to put the marble slate in the back seats of the truck, not in the bed.
Oh, wow.
Because I was worried about it cracking, and I felt that if it were on the seats, it would be more cushioned. And then I put the frame in the bed, and then the marble was resting on the seats, and it would go forward into the headrests, and then when I accelerated, it would flip back against the back headrests, the back seat.
Gradually or?
Kind of quickly. So I had to reach back and hold it. So I'm driving now on the BQE with one hand in my big old truck, and I got my other hand on this 14,000-pound marble slate, and every time I accelerate, the slate's so heavy that it pulls me back into the seat. So I'm moving with this thing, and it was not fun, and it just made me very mad at Sierra.
For not coming?
For making us get this new...
You didn't want to get it?
I did, but I could have done without it.
Got it.
And so I'm just driving the whole way, and I'm just steaming. You ever be in a bad situation and just need someone to blame, even though objectively it's not their fault?
Yes.
Yeah. So I finally got home, brought it up, and said, this is what I just went through. That was not an easy task. And she gave me a hug and basically said, they're there.
Thank you, baby.
Shut up. And all was well, and the new table looks amazing. So that's the story.
Worked out. Dude, I get a lot of anxiety driving other people's cars.
Sure.
And granted, I've made to a degree, I'm alive still because I've been able to do it. If people ask me if I can do the road and if I have a car, I just where I used to live, they would let me borrow their cars. So I've driven other people's cars regularly, and thank God, nothing so far has really happened. Maybe a couple flat tires here and there, but nothing too crazy. but like, it's super stressful.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, it's funny. Like, two of their cars are Jeeps, like the traditional little. And I don't know if you guys know about this, but like Jeeps have this problem where they will convulse. Like Jeep Wranglers have this problem where we used to call it a couple of things, but we call it like the earthquake, or like, and nobody who hasn't experienced it could possibly know what it's like. But it's as if your car starts having a seizure and it starts shaking back and forth violently. And like you need to pretty much pull over. And dude, it's happened to me in some of the most embarrassing possible situations, including when I was driving for people who brought me on the road. And I think that potentially, like, one time I was with fucking Rachel Feinstein and it started happening, and like, I think she was like very rattled. I felt very bad about it. She's like, this is not safe to drive this car.
Were you overcooking it, or
no, dude? Like sometime like we get it fixed, but like it wouldn't fix it somehow. Something with the axle or something. But like when you drive between a certain speed range and you're accelerating a certain amount, it's like this perfect storm where it'll happen. Or if you hit like a really small bump, it can just make it start. And it's happened to me in like embarrassing situations. Like,
and it's happened in different Jeeps.
They have two of them, and it's happened in both of them. It used to only happen in one, and then it started happening in the other.
Weird.
And dude, like, it's happened to me in fucked up situations. Like,
where's another one?
Like, I was with Timothy Chalamet's sister driving to a gig.
Is she a comedian?
No, she was in that King of Staten Island movie, and they were all doing we were all doing a show in Governors.
Okay.
And we're kind of like carpooling. So like they all went in one car. We went in the other car. So it was like me and her and one of the other girls who was in the movie, and Ricky. And the car just started doing it. And it was like so embarrassing. I'm with these like young actor girls who are kind of like carefree, and like it just keeps happening. Like Ricky thinks it's hilarious. Ricky's like cracking up. He's like, thank God. But we pulled over probably six times.
Oh no!
On a 40-minute drive to Long Island.
Yikes! What's up? Who is she in the movie?
I'm not actually sure. We should.
She part of the stoner gang?
I think like the girlfriend girl was with us. I forget her name, but she, and then I don't know what. Let's see. Hold on. Let's look it up. Ryan, can you look it up?
How is she? Is she in a lot of movies? Is she a
I think
burgeoning actress?
She must be. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Is her last name Chalamet?
I believe so.
Oof.
Yeah.
Tough one to live up to. Although, Maggie Gyllenhaal has made quite a name for herself.
Totally. Did you watch that movie she made, by the way?
I did. I did not like it at all.
I hated it.
Hated it.
And
it's unwatchable.
It just shows you how good of an actor Olivia Colman is. That she can like act in this movie that makes no sense and
it
be
was
really compelling.
So
and good.
structureless. It was just a nebulous.
What's it called again? The Other Sister or something?
The daughter, right?
The something. Ryan, we need help, bro.
Ryan, for God's sake.
Olivia Colman movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chalamet plays Joanne.
Okay.
I'm trying to find out what that role is, but it looks like she spent a lot of time with Pete on camera.
I don't remember.
Got it.
Yeah. And what was the other question?
Oh, the name of the Olivia Colman movie on Netflix.
That Maggie Gyllenhaal wrote and directed, I think. Something about The Lost Daughter. Isn't it The Lost Daughter?
The Lost Daughter.
Yeah.
There you go.
Good call.
Yeah.
So, dude, okay, the reason why the Pauline thing is important, Timothy Chalamet's sister, is because not only does my girlfriend like her brother is the celebrity crush. So God forbid some situation where he just sweeps her off of her feet.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, oh yeah, my sister told me that like your ex is a loser also. That thought was just going through my head. Like, what's that thing that you say? Like when not only are you missing out on work, but you are also spending money. What's that called? You had some word for that? Like by going to a wedding or something, you're missing out on a weekend where you could earn money. You had some phrase for it that was funny. You're like, it's a double whatever.
I don't remember what I said.
That's what that felt like. Me embarrassing myself in front of these like young, successful actors felt like I was burning the candle on both ends or whatever.
Yeah, you're getting farther away from Timothy.
Yeah.
And by the way, I mean, I don't think there's anyone that I would rather have, let's say, an omelet with right now than Timothy Chalamet.
Than T. Chalamet?
just spend 2 hours in a dappled sunlight diner booth eating an egg white omelet with Timothy Chalamet. That's top of my list.
I saw him at Tompkins Square Bagels, which is like it's like second degree having breakfast with Timothy
That's pretty
Chalamet.
good.
That's
I
pretty
might
good.
even trade. I wouldn't do that. I was gonna say I might consider trading my Harrison Ford for a Timothy Chalamet now, but I can't do that.
That's a tough trade.
That's my best card.
It's a tough trade.
Yeah,
He looked very cool. He looked like Saturday morning chic.
interesting.
Intentionally baggy sweatpants, a t-shirt that was sort of hanging off him nicely. He looked great. He's a fucking stud muffin, that guy. I'll tell you. I have a Netflix recommendation. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast yet. You correct me if I have or have not. Archive 81.
Is it good?
Someone recommended it to me by the way, I'm happy people actually listen to our recommendations, which blows my mind. People loved Marianne. I'm glad you guys checked that out. And like, if you like Marianne, you'd like Archive 81. And it's pretty good. It's a little creepy, but it's good.
Oh, is it? Okay. Because I will say that Station 11 I did not like at all.
I haven't seen it.
Don't watch it.
Really? Okay.
I didn't like it at all.
Is it scary?
No, it's just the pilot was sensational, and then it got so much worse each episode after that. And by episode 4 or 5, we gave up.
Okay.
It was the
That's good to know.
slowest, weirdest. I don't know, but Ozark. Last recommendation. Ozark. The new season's out. What a show!
Really?
Oh my God,
I
what
gotta
a
watch
show!
it.
The only drawback is that it is so dense with material that it's a little hard to, you feel stupid.
Hard to follow.
The plot is complicated. So I try to find episode recaps and really keep up with it, but even in real time with subtitles on it, it's tough.
I intend to get to that one eventually. Ryan, what's up?
You were about to say.
Oh no,
anything
I
about
would
it.
never.
I just started it this week.
Oh, sick.
It's my favorite show.
You've never seen any of it?
No, I just started the new season. This week.
Yeah, I haven't finished the new season
I
yet.
love it. I spent an hour trying to find an accurate recap because it's been almost 2 years.
You need to go back and I can send you one.
Okay.
There, Vulture, I think, had a really good recap of like seasons 1 through 3, which helped so much to come back into the new season.
Yeah, because you go into it, after 2 years of not watching, and a couple things I'm like,
Some
shit,
shows you
what
need
was,
that for.
What was that about?
You need it desperately.
Yeah.
for
They have a
this.
little one at the beginning. After
It's
watching
not
like
enough.
2 shitty ones,
It's not
we
enough.
saw that. Great show, though. Can't recommend
I
it enough.
read this long one, and then I watched a YouTube one where there was like a guy in the bottom left-hand corner,
Explaining it.
almost like a sign language interpreter, telling you what was going on as they cut back and across the big screen are scenes from the show, and he's showing you big shots and speaking very quickly about what's going
That's
on.
helpful.
Even then, I still
What the
feel
fuck's happening?
like I'm 80% of the way there, and I've watched every episode.
It is dense.
Dude, it's the best show.
I gotta check it out. Did you ever finish watching Dark?
No, I watched season 1 and then watched 1 episode of season 2 and couldn't keep going.
Yeah, that is a show. It reminded me of that was a show that I always needed recaps for.
Yeah.
Very complicated. But yeah, Archive 81, very good. My claim to fame, I did a scene with the lead actress
Oh,
and on Rami.
interesting.
My
Scene in Rami?
my new claim to fame,
Where you're in the club with him?
where I'm in the club. But it's very good. Also, very much enjoying Euphoria still. And yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it for
Nice one.
recommendations. Have you watched the Zac Efron show, Down to Earth?
No.
I'd be curious to hear what you thought about it.
No.
I'm pretty impressed by how personable he is for a guy who kind of was like a child star.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's sort of like comes from what's the term you use for yourself? You're not conservationist. Is that the
I might.
you,
Environmentalist?
maybe? Yeah,
Conservationist?
that's sort of the angle of the show.
Okay, cool.
It's a little LA-y in the
Uh-huh.
like feel the air shit type of thing,
Yeah.
but there's also like a angle of conservation that I think
Mm.
you might enjoy. I don't know. I don't know if you'd like it.
Well,
Hey guys, just a heads up. We're about to talk about Joe Rogan in the episode, and we wanted you to know that we actually recorded this the day before that sort of video compilation came out. So that's the reason why we don't talk about it in the conversation. We didn't want you to think that we omitted it on purpose. Obviously, had that video been out when we recorded this episode, the conversation might have been a little bit different. But we just thought that we still had a productive conversation, so we wanted to use it in the episode, and just wanted you guys to know that we weren't doing it on purpose. That's all. Hope you continue to enjoy the episode.
I want to bring this up. And I don't know if it will stay in the episode, but I'm curious. I want to hear what you think about what all this stuff that's going on about Joe Rogan.
Oh, interesting.
And the fact that, so many people everyone has a really strong opinion about this. And the fact that he's, being accused certainly of spreading COVID misinformation on his podcast, and thus musicians, Joni Mitchell, Nils Lofgren, who's the lead guitarist in the E Street Band under Bruce Springsteen, and of course Neil Young, have now pulled their music off of Spotify in protest because Spotify is standing behind Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan issued his own response to this all, which was, I thought, very kind of thoughtful, but also open-minded and warm and self-effacing, saying that he promises to try to offer more of a counterpoint when he has a guest on who has a very strong opinion about one thing, and then he'll bring on a guest to show the other side, which I thought was very refreshing, but clearly didn't go far enough to placate the people who are really mad about this. And then I read an article in the New York Times from an op-ed contributor who had her own podcast, and she pulled that off of Spotify. And I had a long conversation with my sister about this, who has quite strong opinions, and she's very smart, and I was very happy to go back and forth with her on it. But I want to hear what you think, if you're willing.
Sure. I mean, not being fully informed about the situation, I generally find that Joe Rogan gets a hard time that he doesn't deserve. I do feel that perhaps he does deserve it in this situation, because the guy on the show was apparently just saying things that aren't true at all, which is like, I understand the angle that there's like dangerous territory there, and I agree with that. I agree with you that his apology was pretty good, and if I were to have been upset about it, which I wasn't sitting there thinking about this, but I do understand the idea that this guy has influence and a huge audience, and if he is sort of, and again, I didn't listen to the episode, but if for some reason you're giving a platform to this guy to say a bunch of nonsense, that's a potentially dangerous thing. The same way that having David Duke on your show, one might argue, is not a good idea. It just gives a guy, it legitimizes a guy who shouldn't be maybe legitimized or something. So I understand all of that. And I don't know if does that make sense? Is that comprehensive enough?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. I think that's totally fair. I just, I really cannot get past the fact that talking about limiting someone's speech in America feels so at odds with what I understand and expect from this country. And to your point, I mean, having David Duke on a podcast, I don't necessarily know that is a bad thing if you go about it the right way. Would we have David Duke, he's the Grand Wizard of the KKK, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Would we have him on Oops Podcast? No, because that's not who we are. But if, let's say, we were doing a podcast that was about social commentary and we were interviewing guests from all over the place and all over the map, as Joe Rogan does. He's had Alex Jones, but he's also had Bernie Sanders, obviously. Mm-hmm. If you have him on and you ask him the right questions and you push back the right way, then you do, hopefully, make an impact on somebody. Maybe somebody listening who had been a diehard David Duke fan hears the way that you're asking these questions, and you reel that person a little closer to a more moderate stance. Or I don't know.
Yeah, that seems like wishful thinking to me, but I agree with your point. And that very well could have been what even happened on that episode. I have no idea what happened on the Joe Rogan episode. I don't know if he was like championing this guy who's like says some very fringe, like stupid shit, quite frankly, just like stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if that's what the nature of the episode was, to like argue with him or like, I don't know. Like I understand the idea of what people are upset about, but I don't know enough. I just like don't know the specifics. That might sound like a cop out based on what I know. I respect the Joe Rogan response. And you know,
yeah, I listen. Here's my again. It just, for me, it comes back to this. Like, if Joe Rogan only had 10,000 listeners and he was espousing the same views on COVID and, you know, unproven treatments and saying that the vaccine's bad, whatever it is that he is, nobody would care.
right.
Nobody would care.
Totally.
And then therefore, it's not an issue of, I mean, it's an issue of influence, right? It's an issue of influence.
Yes.
Because they're not saying that misinformation is the problem. They're saying that misinformation at the right scale, at a
Right.
big scale is wrong. And I don't even disagree with that.
Yeah.
But I also think that there have been countless times in American history where we have had things that have put out points of view or information that was bad, that was wrong.
Mhm.
Whether it was, you know, Jim Crow laws or racial insensitivities, or, you know, I hate to say this, but like,
But those,
religious organizations that are saying that, you know, birth control is bad.
it's not really the same thing.
But we could, okay.
It's not just because Jim Crow laws are laws. They're not facts. They're just stupid laws that don't make any sense. It's not like there's a fact about this. However, I'm just going to tell you this thing that's wrong. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, okay. Then don't use that example. Use the religion one, right? Where we say, like, we know that the Catholic Church says in some ways that birth control is a sin, right? And yet science would tell us that birth control vastly lowers the risk of STDs, of unplanned pregnancy, is good for, you know, health in the broader society and all of that, of course. So we don't tell them that they can't say that, because they are protected under freedom of religion and freedom of speech.
True, but that's different. Like, that is like, you have to believe, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's like you have to be part of the religion to care about that. And if you are, then it just feels like it's not the same.
Fair.
You know what I mean? I do understand what you're saying. But like when it comes to religion, it's like, I can't put my finger on why it's not the same, but it's just not. Like, it's not like the people are like, God says, they're just saying God says something, even though he may or may not, which is different than being like, vaccines bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Why? And then saying some shit that isn't true.
Yeah, but maybe they're citing God, and then maybe people who say, I don't like the vaccine's not safe, are citing Joe Rogan or the guy he had on. And
right.
It's all,
but the guy he had on is an actual guy, is the difference. Then God is not an actual guy. God's like, well, he might be, or he's
yeah. But
he might be something.
Who are we to say that someone who determines their creed based on a podcast versus based on a book, the Bible,
I know, but
what's better?
It's not about what's better. It's about like literally like there's a tangible person making this rule. Whereas this book was created before we were even around. You know what I mean? Like, you can discuss this with this guy, whereas you can't discuss it with God. You just talk to a priest who's like, well, God said this, I didn't say it.
So we continue to allow sort of the religious side to manifest because it's not unprovable.
But this isn't about that. Like, the religious stuff is like pretty consistent. I didn't know now that there are these like religious groups getting involved and not getting vaccinated, which is just kind of crazy. But that's not what this is about. This isn't about like, this is a new thing. This is like, there's this new vaccine. It's like, the church has always said birth control is bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like been a thing about like morality. There's no morality about the vaccine. There's no like God pillar that rule about getting vaccinated. That's like not covered in religion, really.
Got it.
Right?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
This is getting confused.
I'm a little lost in the weeds here
yeah,
too.
Yeah. Listen, this is my point. Like, I agree with you. If you're gonna have some guy on who says crazy shit on, and he's like, "Here's my crazy shit," and you're like, "Well, dude, that's crazy. Like, that's literally wrong. Look, like, it's very easy to prove that you're wrong with what you're saying. Like, that doesn't seem too harmful." To your point,
Right?
That feels like a fair exercise, and I like the idea of giving multiple points of view and having interesting discussions. Of course, you know, you have to argue that is there a place where it's a fair argument to say, is there a place that's so extreme that you no longer should be talking to that person?
Yeah,
or not? I don't know.
But where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the line?
That's the tricky thing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, I think there was some kind of invisible line that was drawn at X number of downloads for Joe Rogan. He passed a threshold into a sphere of influence where at that point, you know, it's the Spider-Man quote from Uncle Ben, that with great power comes great responsibility. You now are beholden to the clout that you've earned. And thus you must be more careful. But, you know, it's so tricky. I mean, fundamentally, I just think that misinformation, well, let's say that information in general is subjective, right? That not all facts are provable.
What? Yes, they are. They're facts. That's the whole point of facts.
But they shift, right? The science of COVID has shifted.
Right.
Right? We did think a year ago that the vaccine would eradicate COVID.
Did we?
Yeah. If you
get rid of it?
There are plenty of it was announced that if you get the vaccine, it limits your risk of contracting COVID 95%. And of course, the virus mutated. So the disease has grown.
But they said that also.
But at the time,
barring mutations.
Okay, so they left room for an exemption.
They did say that, and they also said, of course, you can still get it, but it will just reduce your risk of dying significantly, which has been extremely true.
Absolutely. Listen, I am not counter to the science. I'm just saying that the science has had to reckon with new discoveries of the disease. Remember this: when the disease first came out, we thought that it would live on surfaces for days,
right.
And then that was disproven. So, you know, we've just learned more about this, of course.
Right.
But the point is, if you had considered that the disease will live on a door handle for 48 hours, a scientific fact, that fact was
then disproven.
Changed. And in addition, let's use a simpler example. More recently, we thought if you contracted COVID, you had to quarantine for 14 days. That was then brought down to 10, which was then
because of vaccines,
which was brought down to 5
because of vaccines.
Great. Right. Whatever it is, realities
of course,
change.
Yeah. So, but these are developments. So okay, we thought this, but that was wrong. That's fine. But when it comes to like the quarantine time changing, that's not a change. That's not changing of facts. It's not like we were wrong about the 14.
No,
things have then just changed. Like things, like there are developments, right?
Is it true that taking the vaccine is what knocked 9 days off?
I believe so. Yeah, we can check. Yeah, I think so. For
vaccinated, or did they just realize that you're not contagious after 5 days?
The 5 days thing, I think, is for vaccinated people. But like, all right, fine. But these are like findings and discoveries and shit, and it's like that's better than this guy making Holocaust comparisons, which is what this guy does.
Yes.
Which is so ridiculous. It's like it's unfair to talk about these things like they're fair to discuss. It's like a scientist talking to that guy. Why is a scientist talking to this moron? He has nothing to add to the conversation besides the fact that he's entertaining. The guy on Rogan, the guy who went on Rogan. You know what I mean? Again, I get that it can be entertaining to have these like controversial guys on, but like I do think that there is some level of accountability. It's like if you're, and again, like I'm not sure what was happening in this conversation. So, and I'm sorry if that again sounds like a cop out, but like I do understand the idea of being upset about something like that. I don't think it's like censorship necessarily. You know what I mean?
No,
it's
but
like, why are you talking to this bozo?
But okay, but what's the middle ground? Because you can't say that Joe Rogan can no longer speak.
Agreed. Totally. Like at the worst for me, from my perspective, it's like, dude, can you at least explain this? Which he appears to have done. And to me, it's like all good. maybe take down the episode if you want. I don't really know. I hold Joe Rogan in very high regard. I'm always impressed by the way he conducts his podcast. I think he's a great listener. He has amazing questions. I think he's very good at it. And I don't think that should be discounted. I don't think he has like harmful intentions by any means. And like to a degree, I also think he's like operating on like a higher level than people. You know what I mean? And I get that he has like controversial vaccine stances and stuff, but I respect all of that. You know what I mean? Like you could like, I'm in no way an anti-vaxxer, but like I can get behind people not liking vaccines. Like there's people who didn't like vaccines before COVID. So like to me, it's like if you're consistent in that way, like I'm like, fine, you believe what you believe and that's great. You know, I don't know about vaccines in general. I don't know. I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this, but I respect Joe Rogan and I'm not suggesting that like he should be censored, but I also understand the idea of being upset about like the idea of spewing dangerous misinformation in an era where it's already affecting us so much. The amount of people who are afraid to get the vaccine, it's sad, dude. Just people who don't know enough about stuff. You know what I mean? They're like scared. Like, oh, the amount of time, like all of a sudden you like understand the policy of developing vaccines. Like all these people, they made it so fast. Like they're just fucking morons, dude. That's so stupid. That's one of the stupidest arguments. They spent more fucking money on it this time because they had to. Hello? Like it made it go faster. If they say it's ready to go, you know more than they do. It's insane, right?
I'm with you.
Okay, this didn't need to become
No,
this, but
it did, and we're keeping this.
No,
I will fight for this information.
I'm not saying we should take it out. I'm not saying we
podcast.
should take it out. But you know, things are complicated.
I'm watching Chris over there like we're gonna have to fucking cut all of this.
No.
No.
I see his agreed frustration at people who like who just think they all of a sudden know more than like, what are these conspiracies? What's the point? Like, why not assume that maybe the government is like trying to help out in this situation? Because it helps everybody, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. I listen, listen to me. When I talk with my sister, I'm on the other side. And when I talk to you, I take the other side. I am eternally fascinated by trying to understand why people have the points of view that they do. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's some noble thing. I'm just curious about it. It's almost like a devilish facet, like flirtatious mind trick that I'm trying to take on.
Yeah.
Where almost no matter what, I wanna see if I can argue from the other side. You've seen me do this before. We do this all the time. And you know, of course, I'm a pro-vaccine guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm trying to think what someone would say to you who isn't. And I think they would say, well, the government, what they tell us has not always been in our best interests.
Right.
And that there are times when we've not heeded their word as law or truth, and it has actually helped society.
Mm-hmm. Dude, my buddy Hans gives me a hard time because I'm a Novak Djokovic fan, and he is a notorious sort of anti-vaxxer, but he always has been. And like, to me, I don't even know what his reasoning is, but I bet you if he told me, I'd be like, okay, fine. Like that makes like that's like, if you had a problem with, if you always have been like, I don't want to have vaccines in my body, whatever, the human body is blah, 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 whatever the fuck it is you have to say, that to me checks out way more than whatever crazy shit has just started being said during this specific time. If when vaccines were a much lower profile issue, you had issues with vaccines, good for you. Continue the course. Sorry that your life's going to become extremely inconvenient now. And Nadal is winning the Australian Open when you should have. That must have been really brutal for him.
That was amazing.
You know, that must have been hard for him.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, just fucking get it. But like, whatever. So that reasoning, but to your point, it's interesting to hear what somebody has to say, because maybe they have a better reason than some of the reasons you're assuming they might have.
So here's a question I have, right? We go back to when the polio vaccine was rolled out. And my understanding is that was heralded as a far more universal success, you know, life-saving achievement, and everybody got on board pretty quickly. Sure, there were some holdouts, but there wasn't the instant digging in of heels and, you know, I'm not putting that in my body. Who are you to tell me I have to take this? And I have two thoughts as to why that was such a different kind of acceptance of, okay, we got to get it, and that's it.
When did it like start getting rolled out?
I mean, it had to have been the 50s.
Yeah,
When did the
I was
polio
assuming
vaccine?
the 40s.
55.
But bro, that's like the time where America was just like the 50s. Like you fucking loved the government in the 50s in America. Did
Is
you
that
not?
right?
I don't know, maybe not. But like, wasn't that just like Eisenhower? We were fucking awesome. Like
You might be right about that.
it was pre like 60s activism. Like everybody fucking loved white bread and
We just come out of World War II.
dominating World War II.
And we were out of the Great Depression, and America was
America was
experiencing an economic windfall. Everyone was having children, baby boomers, all that.
Yeah.
Yes, the greatest generation, etc. But here's my thought. Right, one is, okay, polio was such a more debilitating and deadly disease than
Right.
COVID
Right.
that a solution to it, you had to get it,
Yeah.
right?
Or you just wouldn't be able to walk.
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
Your children, it was really bad for children. So the idea of preventing it with anything, people were desperate to be inoculated against polio. But the second piece is there was no Twitter. There was no Twitter back then. There was no instant, way to just send misinformation out there. It was much harder to get misinformation out there and to
Yeah.
have a strong opinion that everyone could hear.
Right.
So I guess my question is, which do you think is more,
Right.
like why did we get so much more on board with polio? Was it that we just fundamentally trusted the government more back then? It was pre-Watergate. It was pre
Yeah.
all these
Vietnam.
scandals that we've seen,
Mhm.
where America became disenchanted with its government, or was it that there was no social media, there was no Twitter, there was no internet,
Good questions.
and people weren't, fond of launching out conspiracy theories as much?
Dude, I don't know the answer.
Mm.
I'm not changing the subject. I had a thought about that. Do you want to keep talking about this?
No,
We can.
I'm happy to move on, and I suspect people are too.
No, but
Yeah.
I know what you guys were saying before. The reason why the quarantine change went to 5 days, according to the CDC, end of 2021, it was motivated by science demonstrating that COVID transmission occurs early in the course of illness, generally within the first 1 to 2 days.
there's
So
no vaccine thing involved in that.
Not in this blurb, but it's from the CDC.
Okay. Well,
Mm.
whatever. Yeah, interesting. But dude, I saw Chapelle last night.
Okay. Yeah.
He was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. So how did you see it? Were you allowed into the showroom?
Yeah.
Did you have a ticket?
No, I just I was texted by some of the people arranging the event.
Cool.
Anyway, but he said something funny. I mean, he was talking about this a little bit. He was like, did you hear Joni Mitchell and Neil Young, two artists nobody gives a fuck about,
Dude,
are taking their stuff off of?
I tried this bit.
Oh, really?
I said Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, and Nils Lofgren are leaving Spotify. I'm really going to have to rethink my $11.99 resubscription fee.
Right.
That's like a playlist you put together when someone close to you has passed away. That's grieving music.
That's funny.
That's not, my Peloton Hidden Hills ride.
That's funny.
That was what I had. I don't know. So I
That's
was
good.
working on it a little bit.
That's good.
But if
Um,
Chappelle's doing it, so long.
But no, but he was talking about, I mean, that to me isn't even the same thought necessarily.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's, yeah.
Whatever.
It's basically like if you want us to leave Spotify, you'd have to have Drake take his music,
Right.
and Bieber and Taylor Swift.
The big dogs.
Yeah, they'd have to pull it.
Yeah. And it's topical anyway. Not like you're doing it
Yeah,
live.
exactly.
But regardless, he was just talking a lot about the idea of people getting scolded for saying shit. and kind of making the point that you are arguing just about like how people, you know, it becomes this thing where like people become afraid to be associated with a person who maybe didn't do much or who has like served their time, and like, you know, there are inadequate sort of like unofficial sentences that people are getting for things,
Totally.
you know.
Yeah, you're tainted by association.
Yeah.
Which is harkens back to McCarthyism.
Mm-hmm.
And we came out of that, you know, realizing like, oh, let's fucking be easier on people a little bit.
Yeah.
Not witch hunt everyone.
Yeah, and like, dude, are they arguing to take Rogan off of the air, or like take him off of Spotify or something?
That's right. They want Spotify to take him off.
That feels extreme. That feels extreme to me. Even though I agree. Even though let's say if I had to say, do I agree or disagree with the like overall point? I would say that I'm leaning more on the side of agreeing. However, I don't think that is just to just take him off.
Yeah.
Crazy. We will not be leaving Spotify.
No, we won't. I thought about tweeting this morning a joke where I was like, this has not been an easy decision, but we have decided to remove our podcast from all platforms other than Spotify in solidarity with Joe Rogan or something like that. I don't know. I drafted it and then I was like, I would need to check with the team if this can fly.
This is troublesome.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Chappelle said 3 or 4 things that were like shockingly like edgy, but were incredibly funny. And I was like, this feels nice.
He's on top of it.
He's killing it.
He's got his finger on the pulse of the zeitgeist.
He's pretty incredible.
Better than anyone, I would say.
I really would love to understand his process, like the way he can just go. He just goes up there with a fucking pack of cigarettes and a giant glass of wine, and he just crushes for like 2 hours.
Is it funny the whole time?
I watched 45
forty-five
minutes, and it was hysterical the entire time. And the other times where I've watched him, like I've seen him like on stage on his like 3rd hour of being on stage, murdering.
Really?
To be honest, he's the only guy I've ever really seen do it. Because I've seen other guys work it out, and those guys, they have lulls.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't appear to ever have them.
Well, he's got that thing of blurring the line between comedian and philosopher, which George Carlin did too.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
And so did Richard Pryor. And, you know, where you can listen not just because it's funny, but because it's interesting.
Yeah.
You think you're learning something. And I've always found that from him. And it's a level of kind of intelligence that I don't know, man. I don't know how you get there. It's got to be years and years of thinking to get there. But I do take solace in watching very old clips of Dave Chappelle. I mean, his earliest specials, which I adored.
Yeah.
You know, I'm dying up here, killing him soft. No, sorry, I'm killing him softly. Where it was a lot of like weed jokes and, you know, my white friend driving, white privilege, stuff like that. Where there were less prevailing messages and it felt like it was more set up punchline, a structure we're more familiar with. But now it's just morphed into this kind of omniscient cultural bird's eye view that I just can't even begin to fathom.
Yeah, he's definitely like achieved a pretty high level.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, but it was cool. I mean, it's always nice. It's always inspiring to just watch somebody being really good at comedy. Just makes me want to do it more. You know, if I'm ever in like a funk, it just always helps. I've burst out of my funk, by the way, if anybody's wondering. I've been very active this week. I've been out and about.
Atta boy.
Feels good. And, you know, I feel like the January sort of sacrifices felt like helped and all the things I'm trying to do are working. So I'm happy.
Okay. Interesting. What are you doing?
Editing mostly.
Yeah, you're working.
I'm editing. But just, you know, just like little things like I haven't fallen behind in any life category. You know what I mean? Except for maybe socializing and drinking, which are important categories. But you know, like just the house is clean. Like my stuff is all. I don't know how to describe it necessarily, but everything just feels orderly.
That's good.
You know,
That's great, man.
it's a good feeling.
Hmm.
But anyway, do you want to do a couple emails here?
Sure thing.
Before
You
we
know
get
I
out of
do.
Dodge. Good. You know, you never know what you're gonna get on Oops the Podcast, guys.
Sure don't.
Dude, I was reminiscing about that clip about. That was a good one. The one where we were talking about the girl in the frozen yogurt store. Do you remember that one?
Where she screwed up your
She
order?
just kept
God,
fucking
that
up.
was so funny.
That was a good one.
I was
dude.
laughing so
You were
hard
laughing
at that.
so hard. Dude, I always know too when one of our clips is good because one of us is laughing really hard and I'll hear Hill Dog watching the clip and laughing in the other room. And I'm like, oh, that's a winner.
The way she kept being like, I'm sorry, I'm having a rough day. It's like, how does that translate to not understanding direct, simple instructions about toppings?
I know, dude. So fucking funny. All right. Well, anyway,
It reminded me of two bits.
which one?
What a Tom Segura bit and a Nate Bargatze bit. The Segura one is from his first special that I think put him on the map, where he talked about he went and tried to order a coffee or something, and they're like, "We don't have that." And then he was like, or he tried to hand her $20 or something, and she's like, "We don't have change." He's like, "Now what do we do?" And they were just stuck. Because he was stuck. And then the next one was the Nate Bargatze, of course, the cup of milk on ice.
I haven't seen it. Is it in the?
I think it's his first big special too. It's like a bit that he's famous for,
Okay.
where he he went to Starbucks and said he wanted a certain coffee, and they screwed up his order and just put milk over ice and handed it to him. He's like, I don't think anyone's ever ordered that. You have to be crazy to order something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is a crazy order.
All right. Email time.
Okay, let's do it. This one is called. What's up? Okay. This one is called My Annual Valentine's Day Dilemma. This is timely.
Ooh, that's coming up.
For all the lovers out there.
Coming on up.
Francis and Giulio, huge fan of the pod. Love seeing
All right.
y'all live. I'm excited to see what you all have in store as the
Okay.
pod continues to go.
Here we
Base camp show. When?
Ooh.
I like that.
Nice.
Okay, I'm writing this in regards to a unique dilemma that I face every year on Valentine's Day as a guy. As Giulio mentioned in a recent episode, the 4 key events of a year in a relationship where you should consider a gift for your girl Valentine's, Christmas, anniversary, and her birthday. However, the dilemma is I face that my birthday is Valentine's Day.
Ooh.
I've tried various approaches to this over the years, but nothing seems to work perfectly. What's your advice on how to handle this? Should I defer to her on celebrating Valentine's Day, possibly moving my birthday celebration to another date, or have I unlocked the ultimate Valentine's trump card? Let me see.
Some good questions in there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly deserves a better present than she does. Birthdays are they're higher on the hierarchy of presents than Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day to me is just chocolates or flowers or both. That's it.
Mhm.
You don't need to give jewelry on Valentine's Day.
Mhm, mhm.
Maybe a mixtape.
here's the
Yeah,
mixtape.
but if it's birthday, you get a sweater
right.
or a new scooter or something.
So I wonder too, because you're right. I think it's not that confusing from a gift giving perspective, but it is a little confusing from like a significance perspective. Now, I think Valentine's Day is one of those holidays that we pretend we all hate, but if you do nothing on it, you're like a heartless brute.
Mm,
You know what I mean? If you're like, but we said we hate Valentine's Day,
right.
your girl's like not going to be happy with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know we said that, but now it's the push has come to shove and you didn't do anything and you suck. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do you balance those two things out? Because it's like, even if you choose to celebrate your birthday on the weekend, say if Valentine's Day is the 14th of February, right? Is it always a Monday? Yeah, right. So this year. So this is the thing. So like Valentine's Day is the day that it is, the same way that your birthday is. So it's like,
Dude, it's the day after the Super Bowl this year.
that's crazy. That's actually perfect.
Is this?
Kinda, because you can just have sort of like a meal. What's that called? Like a feel good meal,
Clean out?
comfort food.
Comfort food?
When you're hungover with your girl, massage each other's tummies. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But dude, like, Like having Valentine, you
I
can't
don't know
push.
if I've ever had my tummy massaged.
It's nice.
Just rubbed or massaged?
Just rubbed.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
not like
nice.
massaged. Yeah, that'd be fucked up. But dude, okay, but you can't celebrate Valentine's Day on the weekend. Valentine's Day gets celebrated on Valentine's Day. To your point, it's not significant enough to move it. However, if your birthday is Monday, but we're going to celebrate it this weekend on the actual birthday, where you're not going to acknowledge this the birthday, how do you find the balance there? It is a little bit confusing.
Mm-hmm. You threw a lot at me there.
Sorry.
And I honestly, I sort of blacked out for a second. Wait, go back and ask, what's the question?
It's saying, how do you appropriately celebrate a birthday and Valentine's Day when it's on the same day? What do you do?
I think Valentine's Day is a total afterthought. Your birthday is your birthday, dude. You were born that day. You're the little baby
That's
with
true,
the bow and
yeah.
arrow. You're the pretty sweetheart boy.
Yeah,
and
but
you deserve to be celebrated more than some stupid saint who fills the aisles of Rite Aid with pink nonsense and the one redeeming candy, the Reese's Hearts. Those Reese's Hearts are pretty good.
they're really fucking good.
Those are good.
All Reese's novelty items that
Yes.
come out seasonally are delicious.
That's true. Christmas trees,
Oh yeah, pumpkins.
Easter eggs.
Yeah, all
Mm.
fucking fire, dude. But my point, I'm agreeing with your point, which is what makes this more complicated. Valentine's Day is not significant enough to like move it or something.
Yeah, so you write her a card, you get her a little candy, you maybe a dozen roses and say happy birthday, or excuse me, happy Valentine's Day. Or maybe you sprinkle those rose petals on the bed and go lie down for what you deserve, which is, to ejaculate. It's your birthday.
But on Valentine's Day, potentially you could argue that too.
You don't deserve that on Valentine's Day.
What? Valentine's Day is romantic. Like you deserve it together. That's the beauty of it.
She deserves to ejaculate too. I guess that's true. I don't, I think it's not as certain that you're both going to have the Valentine's Day sex as it is that you'll have birthday sex.
I don't agree.
Well,
I think you assume you're going to get it on both days. And I would argue it's more important to have on Valentine's Day.
you're Giulio. What?
I'm serious. If you don't have it on Valentine's Day, if I were to have Valentine's Day where I just didn't have sex, I'd be like, is our romance fading?
You would be more troubled by that than on your birthday?
Yeah, because if it's my birthday, I don't have sex. It's my fucking birthday, dude. I don't have to have sex on my birthday. I have to have sex on Valentine's Day. You have to have sex on Valentine's Day, dude.
Hang on a second. Wait a second. Wait. Let's rewire this. So, but the problem is not whether or not you want to, but whether or not she comes to you and says, "Okay,
Birthday boy.
special day, birthday boy." So what if it was like she's not thinking, "Oh, we're gonna have sex today." Valentine's Day versus your birthday. What's more troubling to you?
I mean, I think it's a game. It ultimately ends up being a game time decision, regardless. Like, but like the game.
Of course, that's just consent.
But the game, yeah, but dude, but the game time decision being like, I think you plan for sex for Valentine's Day, but for birthday, it can kind of just be whatever. Like if I say we're like tired or something, like I don't feel pressured to need to like be a gamer on my birthday if I don't want.
I would think that my lady would probably expect that there was going to be hanky panky happening to honor me
That's nice of her to
more
assume.
on my birthday than on.
But keyword is my birthday.
Yeah.
It's your birthday. You get to pick what you want to do. It's not about if she wants to have sex with you and you don't, now you're in trouble. Whose birthday is it?
I don't even know if we're
Go
disagreeing.
put your sweatpants on.
Let's shift it one more time.
Yeah.
The day that she's more likely to wear lingerie for you.
I think equally both days.
No chance, Giulio.
I think both days.
Birthday.
Okay, all right, fine. Maybe more likely because it's the birthday and it's like your little treat.
It's treat.
But the Valentine's
Treat.
Day is a celebration of romance, dude. To me, it's an underrated holiday. People are like, "Oh, it's stupid. It's a commercial holiday. They made it to make us buy shit." What are you buying, dude? One of those fucking stupid boxes of candy hearts that cost $1? Like, shut up. You know what I mean? Like, it's a nice thing that shouldn't be poo-pooed, I believe.
I poo-poo.
I like Valentine's Day. I think Halloween is stupid. It's fun.
love Halloween.
It's fun, but it's not important. I agree. I like it too, but it's not as important. Like Valentine's Day is important, dude.
I don't know that it is. Do you even know who Saint Valentine was?
No,
Me neither.
but it doesn't matter.
Well, I know the story of Christmas. I know the story of my birthday.
Do you though?
I can tell you.
I don't even know the story of Christmas. What's the story of Christmas?
You don't know the story of Christmas?
No.
What are you talking about? Yeah,
What's
you do.
the story of Christmas? Of like Jesus being
was
born?
in the manger.
Okay,
and
fine. But I thought never. Okay, fine. Sorry, I forgot. I don't know why my brain went to the story of
birthday.
Santa Claus that I don't know. I saw some
Well, that's
Danish
the
guy.
commercialization
Yeah, right.
of Christmas.
Okay, yeah, okay. Sorry, I do know the story of Christmas. I sound like a fucking moron. Yes, I know nativity scene, Jesus, the three wise men. I know.
Yeah. Yeah, now we're talking.
Parappa-pum-pum.
Parappa-pum-pum. It's nice to talk about Christmas, even though it's a long way off. It's getting me excited about it.
Valentine's Day.
Mm.
I think for Valentine's Day this year, show your loved one you love them, and fucking go do something romantic, and then go, shack up,
Okay.
make it happen.
That's fine.
Make
I
whoopee.
can live with that.
Whoopity dippity.
But if my birthday were on Valentine's Day, I would expect the sex to behoove me more than if it were just for Valentine's Day. Does that make sense?
But bro, you sound like a guy who's been married 40 years. Like you can have sex again with your fucking wife. It's not like you just get laid once a year.
There's sex for
dude.
you both, and then there's sometimes sex that's just more for her, and then there's sometimes sex that's just more for you.
And you think birthday sex is that sex?
Yeah.
Okay. And Valentine's Day sex should not be that sex, I think. I think that's a both of you sex.
Yeah, but if it's your birthday, birthday is the rock to the Valentine's Day scissors.
Agreed. I agree with that.
Birthday usurps Valentine's Day.
I agree with that. But if this is so important, you know what I mean, which it may be, you definitely are getting sexy lingerie if it's your Valentine's birthday. 100%.
Okay.
You're
yeah.
getting sexy
Yeah,
lingerie.
I would think so.
You're getting a
Something pink with a little
The lace?
rabbit tail on it.
exactly.
Yeah, for good luck.
You're getting that fun situation.
Crotchless panties, so you don't have to take them off.
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. The first time I ever experienced that, like, gift, it's your special boy day lingerie, I was shocked. I had never experienced it before that.
You know, Raina told me that she's heard guys say, like, what's the point of lingerie? We're just taking it off anyway.
I like it.
Who are these idiots?
Yeah.
Who are these buffoons?
That's stupid.
Lingerie is amazing.
No.
Amazing. And it's always a surprise. You don't see that coming.
Lingerie's fun.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I don't know if we helped this guy at all.
That was that was a cat's cradle of logic.
It's truly a tough one. But I think that maybe a good answer is if you don't give a fuck about Valentine's Day, if you guys don't, which I encourage you to, but it might be convenient to just like make Valentine's Day not important. To your point, birthday is definitely more important.
Mm-hmm.
But it sucks to not to get to experience both days. But you got to figure it out.
Okay, we can live with that. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Happy birthday to that gentleman. Happy Oops, the podcast to you all. We are in cities near you very soon. I'll be in Rutherford, New Jersey, I think it's called. Yeah, Rutherford, New Jersey.
Hasbrook Heights.
Yeah, but it's also
Part of Rutherford?
I think so.
Okay.
February 18th and 19th at Bananas Comedy Club. And then my big New York City headlining weekend is at Gotham Comedy Club, April 8th and 9th. Those tickets are gonna go. Go to francisells.com. You'll find them there.
And I added another show in Panama City Beach, Florida, by the way.
Damn, bro.
I'm the fucking man on the panhandle.
Manama Beach.
The manhandle.
Manama City.
So I added another show, February 27th. This one's gonna be at Longboards Restaurant and Bar, Panama City Beach, Florida. The night before is at Harpoon Harry,
Nice.
Panama City Beach, Florida. Come see your boy in action.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah. All right. That's it. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Bye.